Steve and Jill here.
Hi.
Welcome to the Land Academy Show, entertaining land investment talk. I'm Stephen Jack Butella.
And I'm Jill DeWitt, broadcasting from gorgeous Southern California.
Today, Jill and I talk about when or when not to partner on a deal. This never goes away.
It's true.
No matter how large your organization gets, your real estate company, every single time I do a deal that's larger than $100,000 now, we have that talk. I mean, Jill and I are partners. Some version of this is going to happen for your whole career.
It's true.
Jill and I, obviously, we partner every single deal. Sometimes we buy property, put them in one of Jill's companies. Sometimes we put it into one of my companies. We have companies together. So depending on where we want the liability to fall, but then sometimes we don't put up the money.
It's true.
Probably about 50% of the larger deals.
Right.
We don't put the money up.
Exactly. So
Somebody
we're doing
else does, and we split
partnerships.
it. Yeah.
And so this is a lot of our members. I think this is really timely too, because a lot of our members are at that point. Well, a lot of our members get there, if they have a really good mailer, too.
Yeah.
So
they run out of money.
That's it. This actually comes up a lot.
Yeah.
And this is what I think it takes up the majority of the our deal board in our online community.
Yeah.
It's a thing in the back end for our members where they can partner on deals and find deals and share deals.
It's a huge benefit to Land Academy.
So cool. Just having access to each other. And yeah. So we talk about it on the one-off. So now we'll talk about it on the show. Thank you.
Before we get into it, though, let's take a question posted by one of our members on the Land Investors online community. It's free.
Okay. Veronica asks, I've been studying since January and sent out my first mailers mid-May. My focus has been Tennessee, and the county I picked apparently has a lot of price differences within the county. After talking with a local realtor and looking at sold comps, I overpriced 2 properties from sellers I'm in contact with.
That's okay. Jill's going to have a lot to say about this. Because I overprice. I do the mailers in our organization, and I overprice stuff sometimes.
Sometimes that happens. That's okay. We just talked about that in a member call like a week or two ago, too.
Yeah.
I'm going to contact the owners again and discuss a significantly lower price from what is on my offer letter.
There you go.
I'm open to suggestions about how to go about this. Thanks.
Well, Jill's going to answer this.
Well, Veronica, it happens, and that's okay. and it's funny. One of the first indications that you may have overpriced something is when your phone just is ringing right away. All of a sudden, the mail goes out, the offers go out, the mail hits. Next thing you know, everybody wants to sell at your price. And you're like, uh-oh, what do they know that I don't know? So, but anyway, it's part of your due diligence. You always check anyway.
Yeah.
The whole point of the mailer is to get it out there, see who's interested in selling, spark a conversation. Either they're going to sign it and send it back, they do want to sell, or at least they're going to contact you and want to talk about it, because they really do want to sell. And obviously, your offer price is in the ballpark, or they wouldn't be contacting you. So that's when you go back and now do your due diligence and say, all right, now I really got to look at the property. You don't look at it ahead of time, you look at it now. Now I'm going to look it up and say, okay, where are we on the back taxes? Is the guy I'm talking to the owner? And all of that stuff. So you go through all those things, and one of the things is now the offer price. Is my offer price correct? I'm going to go back and relook at, now I know where this property is. I know that he is on a road, let's just say. So now I can go look at some comps and see properties, how they're priced that are similar, same county, same size, also on a road.
Decision,
And that's where you're going to go, whoops. Oh my gosh, I offered him $5,000. I should have offered him $2,000.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Because there's nothing out there available in that range. I really overdid it. So, and it's okay. And I've had those conversations that we talked about on one of our shows. So you want me to keep going?
Well, here's what happens in our company. Happens every day. Deals come in, all types of real estate deals. They go into a spreadsheet, and everybody waits for me. So I do the mail. People answer their phones. We have all kinds of people that are handling different types of responsibilities, but they wait for me to review it and say,
thumbs up, thumbs down.
Or, well, in reality, this is specifically due to pricing. So let's say we send out, I'll use a house, I'll use a infill lot as an example. Property comes back, we sent an offer out, our whole campaign out for $9,000. and let's say in a rural town in Arizona, we offer everybody in the lot $9,000. We know they're worth 30. We know we can sell them pretty quick. They're worth probably 50, so we're going to sell them for 25 or 30. The offer comes back at signed, or Jill talks to him, or somebody talks to him in the office, and it's $9,000. What do? I go immediately to Redfin, Realtor, because I don't want to make a mistake, and I spent about 5 minutes on Parcel Fact, just looking at my pricing. Did I make a mistake? If now we're ready to pull the trigger on this thing, the seller wants to do the deal, and you know what? Probably half the time I say, you know what? This is too much. I'd like you to go back and say it's too much. Mm-hmm. And there's always a reason. It's not like I'm dreaming it up or I'm trying to get a better price. The reason is, properties in on this block don't necessarily, I price it by the whole town. On this block, they're cheaper because it's across the street from a strip mall that is vacant. Right. Let's say this is a very real possibility. Right. And it's boarded up, and I think we're going to have a tougher time selling it. So what I do is I take a screenshot of that, all the stuff that I'm looking at, and I put it in the file, and I write my notes, and I move on to the next property. And I expect the person, in our case, we have a full-time person who does these deals for us. He goes back and talks to the seller and shares the screenshots with them. Exactly. Says, here's the deal. When we sent you the letter, we didn't have all the information. Now we have the information. Here's a screenshot of it. Turns out, it's $5,000. Yeah. I would say 95% of the time they say okay.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I used to do those conversations myself for years, where I would come back and go, look, I know we offered you this. I went and just did my homework and looked it all up. And did you know X, Y, and Z? Do you know what's down the street? Yeah. And usually they don't. They haven't been there in so long. It's one of the reasons they're like getting ready to get rid of it. Or if they have seen it, they're prepared for this too. That's either way is good. They're like, yeah. Usually they'll go, yeah, I was wondering if that was going to affect the offer price.
Jill and I, here's a real example. Jill and I just passed on a deal because I don't know if we talked about it last week or not. It doesn't matter. We passed on a deal because there's so much trash and potential EPA issues and dead cars and all kinds of stuff in this property and
a shed that we don't know what's in it.
We just didn't want to deal with it. We didn't want to deal with the potential. We just didn't want to deal with it.
Right.
And so it's not even that we reduced the price on that.
Yeah. All right. So that's a perfect example. So we got pictures. You know what? This is a great example because it was funny. The guy was he was kind of eager wanting to sell. And that raised a little bit of a red flag for me. So watch for that too. If they're really eager and like wondering if you're going to change your mind or how fast we can do this, that's a little indication that do your homework, make sure something's going on.
You want to solve a seller's problem. That we're in the business of solving sellers' problems, but when they're insurmountable, well, in this case, this guy had a tenant. I think he had a tenant that was just controlled the real estate.
Right.
Like militia.
Yeah. So I ended up doing just like we're talking about. I said, what I'm describing is how I got out of the deal is what you could do to even lower your price. It's kind of the same thing. I just went back to him and just said, look, you know what? Turns out we don't want it. This does not meet our criteria. And by the way, here's some photos of what we found. Because of these potential EPA issues, I don't even want to touch it, kind of thing. And I was prepared because we started to go down the path. We're like 3 minutes from opening escrow on this transaction. And I was half expecting him to be unhappy, but all he wrote back was, no worries. So he knew it. So that's the thing too. So when you're telling people like, look, you know what?
They're never surprised.
I kind of went in a little hot with the pricing here. So it turns out I can't make that work. And I'm so sorry. And that's the thing too. It's okay to say I'm sorry. Yeah. You know what? I goofed, after careful review, I have looked at it and for these 3 reasons, you know what, I can do it at this price. And I totally understand if that doesn't work for you. I get it. I wish you all the best. But what I do say too is, hey, if it does work for you, if you want to sleep on it, by the way, if they don't answer right away saying, fine, I'll take it. If they go, oh man, so you know what, sleep on it. This is what I'll do. Sleep on it. Yeah. I'll honor it. I've got the funds set aside. I can hang out a week, 30 days, whatever you want to say, and leave the door open to them and let them go sleep on it. And you can say, look, I can't do it at 5, but I love it at 2. I can make 2 work. So if that works for you, please let me know. And then let them go. and you'd be surprised. And don't chase them, don't harass them, if you really want it for whatever reason. But I don't. There's so many deals coming in. It's too easy to send out more mail. But I just let them go, and it's shocking how many times they will call back. A few days will go by. They've talked to people. They've talked to their family members one more time. Nobody still wants the property. You know what I mean? And so they're
vast majority of the time
they'll call you back.
It.
And I'm not these revisions to our offer price that we're talking about are not meant to get it at the right price for them. We're really not trying to do that. We're still trying to give a good, fair offer.
Yeah.
I want to make sure to point that out. And it's not a crazy offer still. It's a good, fair offer. I just had to revise it. And they know that. And
I want to end on 2 points. These are incredibly important. Number one, please do not make this your business model. Do not do mailers in with the full expectation. Right. And it's part of your business model that you reduce the price when they call you.
That's not cool.
Like it or not.
It's not good.
You're branding yourself, and you're creating a reputation for yourself. And if you are, there's a guy that haven't done business with him in years now. That's his whole MO. He negotiates a deal, and 20 seconds before it's funded, he comes back and says, "No, this is the price now."
I hate that guy.
And so
I know who you're talking about.
So that will catch up with you.
We don't do business with him anymore. Right?
That's right.
So,
and we could have done
a lot.
Tens of millions and millions of dollars worth of land transactions. He's on the other side of the country, so he's better at selling stuff on the East Coast, and we're better on the West. So, and we had a good thing for a while, but it's just too bad.
Yeah.
So don't make that your business model at all. I can't impress that enough. It seems like a silly little thing. Oh, yeah, of course.
Exactly.
Here's another thing, and this is my final point. You are not here to scrape the bottom and just get the cheapest. Like, kick him when you're down. Kick the seller when he's down. That's not what you do.
No.
You want to give them a relatively fair price. I had a partner, and I shared an office with somebody named Mark. Last initial P. And that was his job in life, is to get the absolute cheapest, take advantage of the seller possible price. He made a career out of that. And if I sound pissed about it, it's because I am. That's not what we're here to do. We're here to get the seller out of a situation that they want to get out of, and give them a reasonably fair price where you can make some money too.
Exactly.
That's it. You do not want to take advantage of people. That's not what this business is for.
You want them to hug it. You want them like we've done. You want them to end hugging you and thanking you, going, you know what? Nobody else wanted it. You gave me a good price for it. You made it so easy. Thank you so much. Now I can afford to do X. And they do this. They hug you and wish you well.
Do it right. That's how you want to do it.
I wish I have so many conversations with people saying that, I hope you make so much money on this because you're a good person and you did the right thing. Thank you. Like, that's what you want.
Today's topic: when to partner on a deal and when not to. This is the meat of the show.
Kind of forgot we had a show.
I know.
Kind of forgot to talk about that. That kind of went on. That was kind of like our topic.
It's so important. Hey, by the way, I forgot to mention, Tennessee is like that. I've had that exact same experience in Tennessee. Properties are $50,000, and 2/4 mile down the road, they're $5,000.
That's funny.
Anyway.
Okay.
So, when do you partner a deal? When do you partner on a deal, and when not to? Well, the very quick takeaway from the show, please retain this, is when you need to or when you don't need to. I personally, Jill's my partner on all this stuff. You know why? Because we have a blast.
Right.
You take a silly real estate deal it's real estate. It's not that fun in and of itself. But it's just, buying and selling. But Jill makes it fun, like everything.
Aww.
So that's when you want to partner. So that's when you decide to have a permanent partner, because you're having a lot of fun doing what you're doing.
That's cool. I like that.
That's one type of partner. The other kind is, let's say you run out of money. Believe it or not, Jill and I allocate monthly acquisition funds. And so every once in a while we run out of money, especially on some of these larger house deals. Here's an example. Like in California, it's not unusual to spend $1.5 million on a tear-down house that you're going to sell for $1.5 million plus $75,000.
Right.
Wholesale. and we always go in and buy cash. I don't want to deal with lenders and the whole thing. So those are good situations where we use 100% of someone else's capital, not even 90, and we pay them let's say 10%. And we're in and out of the whole transaction inside of 30 days. That's our whole deal. Boy, they love that. Private lenders, they can mop the floor with that. They're bragging to their friends about that.
It's awesome.
They're usually retired couples or retired guys. Where else you turn that four or five times a year? That's some serious dough.
And we do all the work.
Yeah.
We do all the mail. We do all the expenses. Our staff answers all the phones, weeds through them all till we get that one. So we come to them when we're like, have that one. They did nothing. It's awesome.
Exactly. So that's a great example of, everybody wins partnership. That's the other thing about partnering deals. And we just alluded to this earlier. Well, we didn't allude to it. I had a rant. Everybody's got to win here. There's so many people brand new in business or in real estate I come across, and they're like, well, there has to be some type of lying or cheating or stick it to them somehow, stick the screws to them somehow.
Exactly.
Somebody's got to win and somebody's got to lose. That's just not how the real world is. That's how the stock market is.
No. That's why we're not involved in that. You know what's funny about this? Can I tell a story now?
Absolutely.
I just was thinking about this. So it's doing the right thing. And you know what's so funny? I am a big advocate, I know you are too, on keeping money local, keeping in our community. For example, you were at the farmer's market yesterday afternoon, and you brought me home flowers. You probably could have gone.
You snuck that in this whole show.
No, why? No, why?
That's awesome.
No, but it's good. Now, my point of this is, it probably wasn't the cheapest or the best, but it was local. It's a local farmer's market. So it kind of ties into what your point was about doing the right thing. We're all here to do the right thing, by the way. And that's one of the ways that I feel very good, kind of overspending. I know it, but I'm helping out somebody else grow their business. I'm helping out someone, feed their family and keeping it local. And I know I'm doing the right thing. I pay more for that.
One of the unintended consequences of the internet, and this is just my old man opinion, is that we've raised a generation thinking that everything's free.
Yeah.
And there has to be profit margin, some profit margin in everything. There just has to be. And if you think you're getting something for free, I'm sure you're not. At some point, you're going to get charged for it, or somebody else is getting overcharged for it, because that's just not the way the world is.
Exactly.
So I know we have, every time we hire somebody new, and we have, especially IT people, they'll spend 2 days looking for some resource, IT-driven resource that's free, versus spending $15. And it just kills me.
Exactly.
I would rather spend $50.
Yeah.
Right immediately than waste 2 days.
Right. Of your salary. And your time and your energy. Yeah, no,
and
that's
the free stuff's not usually the best.
That's true.
In not all cases, but sometimes.
That's
true. So, yeah. There has to be profit, and sometimes it's not even profit. It's like, we have to pay the light bill. Right. That's why we're marking this up, to actually cover the other costs, so that we can turn the electricity on. Yeah. Keep it on.
Yes. I love it.
So when else do you use a partner? When they're better at something than you.
That's true.
Jill's better at all kinds of stuff than I am.
That's a good example. There's a lot of, I've seen members, like, I'm just giving examples because from our community again, but I've seen members partner in deals, like maybe they're new to our community and they're a little uncomfortable. They have the cash, the acquisition funds. They're kind of getting rolling. So I've seen them partner just to gain experience working with someone. And that's a perfect example. Like, they even might fund the deal to learn from the other person as they close the transaction, and now they can at least understand from the time of purchasing through the selling it part, and then they can add the learn the front end later. But that's a great time to partner on a deal.
There's a guy that we know in Texas that every time he was a former county commissioner. And I wouldn't consider doing a real estate deal in that county without him being a partner involved, because he knows everybody at the county. He can get stuff done. He can get any property split up.
That's true.
We haven't talked about it recently, but splitting property is just the greatest thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, talk about adding value without really doing a lot of work, shuffling some paper around and filing some fees with the county. Now you've got 10 EPNs and you started with one.
Right.
That's some serious, you can make, that's a career, a niche we didn't talk about yesterday or 2 days ago.
Oh, that's true. That is a good niche.
So you want to partner with people who are smarter and better and have better connections and stuff. But here's a good thing. Here's an exciting thing. You control everything by sending the mail out. The deal comes to you. You negotiate the deal. You have all the power.
It's true.
You can bring property people in. You can not bring people in.
Yep.
So you always want to be the deal controller.
Exactly.
And unless you're the money person, when people are calling you saying, hey, you want to partner this? This happens to me all the time. It happens to me probably 3 times a week. Hey, Steve, I'm a member in the group, or I listen to the show, and I'd love to have you as a partner on this deal. And my answer is always no, unless I'm just a lender,
right?
Where I'm just providing money,
right? It's
just there's a lot of work that goes on with relationships as partnering.
It's true.
I mean, there's a lot. I have a lot to say about this. Some people love it.
Yeah.
Some people really don't have anything else to do.
Yeah.
So,
That's hilarious.
No. Partnerships are strange things. Relationships are strange things,
Yes, they are. I don't know if we want to go there.
We don't.
Okay, good.
That's Jill's nice way of saying zip it. Hey, well, you've done it again. You spent another 15 or 20 minutes or so listening to the Land Academy show. Join us next time where we discuss actual deals where we lost some money.
And we answer your questions, should you have one, posted on our free online community found at landinvestors.com.
You are not alone in your real estate ambition.
Did we go long?
No, that was dangerous. Oh, I guess we did. That was dangerously close to becoming a rant.
Yeah.
Nice, good work.
Some days you're on those things. I'm like, nice work, what?
You totally just
reeled it back in?
Yeah, you sidetracked me and distracted me like Houdini, like a good magician.
Like
distracting me from the truth.
Like if you're running for office and you're standing on the podium, you're about to bury yourself. I got in there and I saved you. I created a distraction over here and saved you. That's me. Share the fun by subscribing on iTunes or wherever you are listening. And while you're at it, please rate us there.
We are Steve and Jill. Information
and inspiration
to buy undervalued property.